Okay, day 162.3, JSON group, the JSON group. The JSON group, I believe, is not named after the Jason of the Argonauts, the Jason that ends up fleecing everybody's gold, or something to do with a gold fleece. The real JSON group is a group of scientists from, I believe, major nuclear laboratories as well as space scientists that started in the 60s helping presidents with very tough problems. And is it the Nazi Fourth Reich, you know, spy kids, Nazi kids, science kids, all the kids of the people that worked at Oak Ridge National Laboratories? I don't really know. Or, you know, Los Alamos, we don't really know, or Sandia. But we do know they met 5 times a month, and I really believe the name for JSON was July, August, September, October, November, in the 5 months they met. But anyway, there's a company in Virginia, McLean, Virginia, called MITRE. Also 5 letters, MITRE being, hey, we're going to cut the wood to our liking, our specifications. So we're going to take this raw material and we're going to cut it in the way we want, and we're going to make something out of it, you know, for our future scientists. So we'll get to that later, what an NXIXM is and all that. But for now, the JSON group is interesting because there's all this missing uranium, californium, these transuranics. When they make this uranium, let's say at Berkeley, they formed a whole bunch of elements, like 9 elements past uranium, which is trans, or past the uranium, transuranics. And one of those transuranics was californium, named after California because it was discovered there or created there by basically hitting a nucleus with a whole bunch of neutrons. And this 3-pound, you know, cake of californium was found in Turkey. Embarrassing little details. That's worth 70 million bucks. So there's a lot of experimental reactors they make for these different transuranic elements. And there's also 300 scientists missing from Oak Ridge, or supposedly supposed to be at Oak Ridge with their metadata, but they're not there. Now those scientists, 30 of them sprinkled over here with californium experimental reactor over here in Turkey, another 30 over here with a plutonium reactor in Iran, another 30 in UAE with all the other Einsteinium and all the other different types of reactions, as well as thorium reactors. You can make a lot of different kinds of reactors with different types of technologies that were tried at Oak Ridge, thorium being one of them, the salt, and the melt salt, the heated salt reactor. So is that what's really happening? Is this JSON group really pushing these around? And then is there a whole kind of extraction, just like you would extract ore to make the uranium? Do you also extract the scientists as well from these remote areas as they show promise and bring them in? Is that what NXIXM was? You extract the nuclear talent, nuclear extraction, you get the ore at the same time you get the kids maybe, and then you bring them in and you insert them in places where you then can extract money. Now it turns out really quickly, NXIXM is also the name of this cult in San Francisco, about 13 miles away from San Francisco, called Half Moon Bay, where just busted where this guy who's called Rainier, it's like Rainier with an E, like think Mount Rainier with an E. He had actually these women tattooing themselves, willingly going into a sex cult, giving a whole bunch of compromising pictures of themselves and joining this sex cult, like a sisterhood sex cult, believe it or not, in the news, just busted by the FBI. Is the actual tattoo NXIXM? We don't know. Interesting. But typically you go to a small state like a Hawaii or an Alaska, that's a certificate authority, in this case a paper certificate authority, not an electronic certificate authority like a federal bridge, and you get a birth certificate for these kids that are extracted, nuclear families being extracted, NXIXM, right? And then you basically bring them up through the Waldorf school, let's say, and teach them all about Dr. Steiner and scientific method and so forth, or whatever your Germanic theosophy is. Dr. Gabriel, Mr. Gabriel from AIM would be a good guy for that, come to think of it. And then you insert them into these different positions in these different places that MITRE invests in. These are federally funded science institutions, science and development institutions. It kind of follows that same Nazi paperclip methodology of, hey, don't invest in anything, always co-opt the government, always co-opt the government thing. And if you are co-opting the government resources for your different research reactors, why not co-opt government resources or other school systems all the way up? Now, did Doug Gabriel have anything to do whatsoever with bringing Obama into the country? I doubt it very seriously, even though he was at the University of Hawaii in Hilo. Did he have anything to do with Huma Abedin coming into Southfield, Michigan, and being cultivated for whatever she was being cultivated for because he's not too far away from Dearborn? I don't think so. But it is interesting to think about. NXIXM.